My goodness gracious. Shiki, the absolute fear and trepidation I felt seeing your message. Just nice stream title. I was like, what did I do this time? No. I was so careful. Hi, everybody. Hi, hi. Happy Tuesday evening here. How is everybody doing? Hello, hello, hello. Elwin, Star, Puffy, Zach, Shiki, Cedric, Kogure-san, hi, hi, hi. Icy, hi everybody. Heyo, Shita, hi. What's up? Well, hello. Hello, stranger. Fancy seeing you in here. Thank you for stopping on by. Hopefully you can enjoy your time with us. It's Tuesday, isn't it? It is. It's Tuesday here at least, but for some folks it is perhaps a different day altogether. How was your day? It was a day. It was good. I am glad to be spending some time with you guys though, for sure. For sure. I think I got flu from a coworker. Oh, Cedric. Make sure you stay hydrated and get as much rest as you can, okay? Good night, good night. Hi, Tess. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Oh, I'm so excited you guys are here. We're gonna have a nice, cozy evening. Just have our rain sounds, maybe some typing here and there, and we're gonna read some cozy stories. So hopefully you have a blanket, maybe a cup of tea, ooh, or a cup of hot cocoa. Just something to be cozy. Hi sis, hi. Hi Star, how are you? Meow Rarwolf, hello, hello. How are you doing? I'm Loitupo, thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. Yes, for those of you who do not know, my name is Opaline, but you can call me Opal. Here we like to keep things cozy and easygoing, and hopefully get a little bit sleepy and ready for bed. By the time we're done here, we can unwind. It's Wednesday for me. See? Zach coming to my rescue, proving my point. 2 a.m., so I'm sure I'll enjoy the ASMR. My goodness gracious, you're up so late. Hopefully you can get some good sleep soon. Laying in bed and comfy. Perfect, perfect. Can I have a drink, please? Imagine if we could all have a nice cup of tea together. Wouldn't that be nice? Chamomile, maybe. And my name is Shiki, but you can call me tonight. Shiki rolling in with the Riz, my goodness. Time to sleep at the work office. Any place is suitable for napping if you try hard enough. I was heading to bed just now. Oh, gosh. Well, good night, Teth. Thanks for saying hi. It was good to see you, even if just for a little bit. I hope you rest well. I'll have to update you on some things. Oh, my goodness. Well, hopefully it's good things, since you said you're amazing. Do love me some tea. Can't go wrong with a nice, cozy beverage. Feel like I could fall asleep here even though it's 1 p.m. That's a perfectly suitable nap time, I think. Is that cozy, icy, cozy? How are you, my friend? How are you holding up? Give me some opaline tea, please. What would that taste like, I wonder? Never mind, that has a potentially concerning thought process that we could go down. Let's not. Let's not and say we did. Waiting on results now. Good. I'm glad you're all right. Fingers crossed you get some answers. Oh, not like that. Okay, thank goodness. I didn't think you'd lead us astray, but you never know. You never know. Mixing a special tea blend. Hmm. 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 I think no matter what, I should be a tea blend that is meant to be had with a lot of sugar. Mm-hmm. Be sure to drink your Ovaltine. That sounds like Ovaltine, and I am a granny apparently because I adore Ovaltine. Did you guys drink Ovaltine growing up? Or perhaps do you still? Or maybe I did mean it like that. You did not. I refuse to believe it. Zach, no. It'll be all right. We were more of a Milo family? Milo family? What is Milo? I've never had it, I just use Nesquik. Nesquik has more fun packaging, that's for sure. I've never heard of Ovaltine. There's a first for everything. This is my first time hearing of it too. I remember the name Ovaltine but can't picture it. It's like Nesquik. It's a powdered drink that's meant to be a nice little supplement that you can mix into normally milk. It's an Australian choco milky powder thing. Got it. Okay, so we've got equivalents going on here. Beautiful. I know Ovaltine from A Christmas Story. I haven't seen that in a very, very long time indeed. It feels like it's still appropriate to be watching Christmas movies, even though we're, in the second week of January now? Have you guys gotten used to saying that it's 2025 yet? Still feels silly to me. Doesn't feel correct. So it makes chocolate milk? It does. And you can technically say it's healthy. It's got good nutrients in it. I made a few mistakes still. Me too. Me too. I hear you. Let's see. So, as a heads up, for those of you who are not yet aware, later on this week, in a couple of days, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to do my darndest. I will do my very, very best, I promise, to keep this as cozy and calm as possible. But on Thursday, we will be playing a horror game. We'll be playing The Classrooms. Have you guys played it or seen anyone else play it? I haven't had to write the year yet. I believe in you when the time comes, Elwyn. I'm not big on chocolate milk. Much prefer hot chocolate personally. You can make hot chocolate with it. That's often what I do with mine. And then I have my homemade whipped cream that I put on top. It's so yummy. Uh-oh, spooky. We're gonna get a little bit spooky. You play games? Sometimes. Last week we played a little bit of Hatoful Boyfriend, of course. You don't think so? Alright, it'll be a first. Never heard of it, never heard of that. Looking forward to it, but haven't seen it. Okay, so this can be sort of a first experience for all of us together. I did see someone play a little bit of it many, many months ago, but it was only part of it. I think it was close to the end, and I don't remember much. Some of my files are dated wrong already. Puffy, you and me both. We'll get there. I know we will. I think I only saw part of the classrooms during a raid, but then had to sleep. We're going to do our best to get through the whole game in one sitting. Supposedly, it shouldn't take us too long, but I guess we'll find out. So yes, wanted to give you all a heads up. that in a couple of days we'll try to keep it cozy. I'll try, but I do get scared quite easily. Speedrun time. I think it's just that the game itself isn't meant to be super long. I think so. Supposedly, believe in us. We can do this. The classroom is that 9 plus 10 equals 21 game? I beg your pardon? I have no idea. Perhaps it is, and I just don't know. I'm not super familiar with it. We can find out together. Unless, do you know something I don't? Do you have a favorite horror game? I have a feeling some of you may not be surprised to know that Amnesia is near and dear to me. I do quite like the Dark Pictures anthology games. Those are fun. I liked Resident Evil 4. Yeah, I'd say I like stuff like that. Do you guys have any favorite horror games, whether to play or to watch? You into that dramatical murder, ain't ya? Am I? What does that mean? Is that a reference to a series? Good choices. I'm glad you approve, Elwyn. Resident Evil 1, my beloved. I haven't played the first one. Perhaps I should check it out. Do you think it would be a game suitable to stream? Oh, I just realized I think I'm humming Hedwig's theme. I'm always fond of Until Dawn, the game before the Dark Pictures anthology. I'm not familiar with Until Dawn. I'll need to check it out. Just going to add that to the list. Nice keyboard ASMR. I am glad you approve. Very suitable. It's got fixed camera angles, so the stress is a different kind compared to the later ones. Ah, okay. Truly, it seems like finagling camera angles in games is sometimes the most tumultuous part. Is it not? Ooh, there's a list. There's always a list of some kind. I'm not sure if we should do, rather if we should make horror games a regular part of how we gather in the flower bed or not. It's not particularly cozy, but I do enjoy them. So we'll see. We'll see how everyone feels after Thursday's run that we're gonna do of the classrooms. I was actually in the middle of reading Order of the Phoenix. Very nice. What's up? And everybody else, if you are into Harry Potter, what is your Hogwarts house? Please do tell. I love learning that about people. I think it's so much fun. Camera, the greatest enemy in games. Agreed, Elwyn. It's definitely a massive pain, but I think it adds to the charm, personally. Oh my. Well, I'll take your word for it. I'll trust you. And I feel like if nothing else, I really should at least try playing it to be able to say I did. At some point, I really want to play at least one of the Silent Hill games. I've somehow managed to never play a single one, and that feels wrong. You know, I'm a Hufflepuff. Uh-huh. We have a puff representing. Love it. They are particularly good finders, are they not? If anyone here has seen a Harry Potter musical, my Patronus was a dragon. I love the combination. Very nice. Ravenclaw, from what I recall. It's a good house to be in. I'm a bit biased, of course. So we've got a Hufflepuff and a Ravenclaw. I feel like you don't often run into Gryffindors. They seem a bit far and fewer between. Can't remember the last time I did the sorting. Usually Hufflepuff or Slytherin. On the surface level, they seem like they'd be opposing houses, but I bet they have more overlap than you might think. Star, what is your house? I wonder. I wonder. So, for... Oh, Hufflepuff. That makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. I went to HP Studios, and one of the workers asked me what house I was in. He sighed when I told him Hufflepuff, and he sighed and said, "One of you lot," and pointed to a piece of fan work on the wall, which was a knitted pattern saying Hufflepuff. That's beautiful. I love that. That is a very Hufflepuff thing to do indeed. But I actually have Lucius Malfoy's cane in my room, just the cane. Not a full cosplay lying around of Mr. Malfoy. Nope. Were you an aspiring Slytherin student? Were you sorted wrong? Just the cane. Oh, with a pull-out wand. That's fun. Have you played any of the HP games? I remember playing the early ones on GameCube. I think I might have played... Were there some on the Game Boy Advance, maybe? Right? Yes. I played one on the Advance. Am I aging myself right now? Talking about Game Boy Advance games. But yes, I believe I played just that. Just that. Perhaps someday I'll revisit. But the banner point was supposed to be an insult because it was misspelled. Oh, it was intentional. The cane was my late granddad's. We bought it for him for his birthday. That's so special and so sweet. Oh, so it has an extra lovely meaning to it. I love that. There was a funny time when games would have the console and the handheld version, and they would be rather different. Were they? I feel like I should know this, and yet I've got nothing. Drawn a blank. I have quite a poor memory, you see. It is not my forte. You know, it could be fun at some point if we were to take the Sorting Hat quiz at some point together on stream. I don't know, would you guys be down? Would you take it with me if we did? Different development teams would often work on them too. Oh, that sure would explain it then, huh? I have a vague memory of watching someone play. I love that it's Happy Potter. No, that's one of the best typos I have ever seen. I love it. So, for tonight, I thought we could maybe read a little bit of. I'm dragging this out as I say it because it's occurring to me I was still torn between some options. Oopsie daisies. The main one I had in mind was AKA Nuggy. Hi. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome on in. Welcome to the flower bed. How are you doing? We are getting cozy and we're about to pick out a story to read. I'm good. What about you? I'm glad you're good. That is wonderful to hear. I am also doing well. Always glad to have some time where we can just hang out and unwind. And thank you for being here. So I was thinking we could read a classic, either Peter and Wendy, which is of course the novel that Peter Pan is based on by J.M. Barrie, or one of my personal favorites, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Those are my two favorites for tonight. But what are your thoughts? What do you guys think? I think we should read. We definitely will do that at some point. I promise. Promise, promise. Oh, Nuggy. We love Alice. Can't go wrong. You really, truly cannot go wrong with some Alice in Wonderland. Fine with anything. Perfect. Let's pivot entirely and read Frankenstein. No. Oh, that would be a fun read, though. I do adore Mary Shelley. Oh, or Wuthering Heights, or The Picture of Dorian Gray. We could even be adventurous and read some Billy Shakes, even. William Shakespeare, of course. Alice in Borderland. Close enough. Hey, Opal. Kagami, hi. Hello. It's good to see you. How are you doing today? Fine by me. How about an Opal original story? I much prefer to write poetry, if I'm to write. I'm not much good with prose, I must admit. A Harry Potter reading. I don't believe Harry Potter is public domain, is it? Would not we risk the wrath of the Twitch elder gods? Granted, we're just a small flower bed. Surely no one would notice. Fair point. We could chance it. But the responsibility would be on you, my friend, if you are willing to accept it. More than willing. Oh, goodness. No, I wouldn't actually do that to you. I am only teasing. Kogure-san. I mean, technically, if we count the Alice in Borderland comment, that means 2 votes for Alice. Does that mean we'll be reading some Alice's adventures in Wonderland this evening? Because we certainly can. Sounds good. Alrighty, then let's do it. So, of course, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, or more commonly referred to as Alice in Wonderland. This is technically, if you did not know, the first book in the story, for there is another, which is Through the Looking Glass. I'm good with some Alice. Perfect. Perfect. Then, shall we? There is admittedly a bit of controversy surrounding Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. If you do not know, the author, Lewis Carroll, based Alice on a young girl who lived nearby. There's no evidence that anything untoward happened, but supposedly there was a bit of an unhealthy attachment or fixation there. Ergo, this character is based on her. So there's that. And away we go. Chapter 1. Down the Rabbit Hole. Alice was beginning to get very tired of sitting by her sister on the bank and of having nothing to do. Once or twice she had peeped into the book her sister was reading, but it had no pictures or conversations in it. And what is the use of a book, thought Alice, without pictures or conversations? Provides a lot of inspiration for scholarly discussion, one might say. One might say that, indeed, and they wouldn't be wrong. So, she was considering in her own mind, as well as she could, for the hot day made her feel very sleepy and stupid, whether the pleasure of making a daisy chain would be worth the trouble of getting up and picking the daisies, when suddenly a white rabbit with pink eyes ran close by her. There was nothing so very remarkable in that, nor did Alice think it so very much out of the way to hear the rabbit say to itself, oh dear, I shall be late." When she thought it over afterwards, it occurred to her that she ought to have wondered at this, but at the time it all seemed quite natural. But when the rabbit actually took a watch out of its waistcoat pocket and looked at it, and then hurried on, Alice started to her feet, for it flashed across her mind that she had never before seen a rabbit with either a waistcoat pocket or a watch to take out of it, and burning with curiosity, she ran across the field after it, and fortunately was just in time to see it pop down a large rabbit hole under the hedge. Which arc is this from the Winnie the Pooh anthology? It's the lost chapters, of course, of course. In another moment, down went Alice after it, never once considering how in the world she was to get out again. Slight tangent, but how did you guys feel about the Alice in Wonderland level in Kingdom Hearts? I adore it in hindsight, but I remember being a little girl playing it for the first time and struggling so much. I ate it. Could it be you hate it so much it caused a typo? That would be quite understandable. I only remember the visuals of it. It was, I thought at least it was fairly trippy. In general, has really confusing map design. Agreed, yes, there was certainly a lot left to be desired with the Kingdom Hearts layouts and ways, but the visuals were absolutely stunning, I agree. The rabbit hole went straight on like a tunnel for some way, and then dipped suddenly down, so suddenly that Alice had not a moment to think about stopping herself before she found herself falling down a very deep well. Either the well was very deep or she fell very slowly, for she had plenty of time as she went down to look about her and to wonder what was going to happen next. First, she tried to look down and make out what she was coming to, but it was too dark to see anything. Then she looked at the sides of the well and noticed that they were filled with cupboards and bookshelves. Here and there she saw maps and pictures hung upon pegs. She took down a jar from one of the shelves as she passed. It was labeled orange marmalade, but to her great disappointment, it was empty. She did not like to drop the jar for fear of killing somebody underneath, so managed to put it into one of the cupboards as she fell past. Do you guys like marmalade? I personally am quite fond of marmalade, especially for its time. 2002, 23 years ago. Was it really that long? Ah, how the time has gone. What's up? I hope you're nice and cozy. Now that you mention it, I remember watching someone play and they got stuck quit on Tarzan's level. I feel like I struggled there too. I struggle with gaming in general. Perhaps that is the easiest way to put it. I remember that stage 2, it was awesome. It was so cool, right? I'm not opposed to marmalade. Perhaps we should make a nice cuppa and have some toast with marmalade. Marmalade is good once in a while. Can be too sweet for me. Elwyn, do you not have much of a sweet tooth? Personally, I love sweets and I love sweet things. In case you haven't been able to tell by how much I talk about wanting to sweeten my tea and coffee. Extremely cozy. Perfect. I love Paddington. I mean, marmalade. Quite a Freudian slip there. I'm more of a lemon curd guy, though. Ooh, that does sound good, though. It does. It does. Well, thought Alice to herself, after such a fall as this, I shall think nothing of tumbling downstairs. How brave they'll all think me at home. Why, I wouldn't say anything about it, even if I fell off the top of the house. Which was very likely true. Down, down, down. Would the fall never come to an end? Hello, Cloudy. Hello, hello, and welcome on in to the flower bed. My name is Opal. We are reading Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I hope you are well and ready for a cozy evening. Certain types of sweets are good, but more a fan of savory and salty. Okay, we'll split up the foodstuffs. You can have savory and salty, and I'll take the sweets. Down, down, down by the river. If I could sing, I would cover that song so happily. So happily. Can't wait until she gets to the part Alice meets the Wizard of Oz. We'll pivot entirely. We'll switch to that series. Would the fall never come to an end? I wonder how many miles I've fallen by this time, she said aloud. I must be getting somewhere near the center of the earth. Let me see. That would be 4,000 miles down, I think. For you see, Alice had learned several things of this sort in her lessons in the schoolroom, and though this was not a very good opportunity for showing off her knowledge, as there was no one there to listen, still it was good practice to say it. Yes, that's about the right distance. Oh, but then, I wonder what latitude or longitude I've gone to. Alice had no idea what they were, but thought they were nice and grand words to say. I've been dying for some boiled sweets for weeks. Boiled sweets? Boiled sweets? What exactly is a boiled sweet? I feel like I should know this. Presently, she began again. I wonder if I shall fall right through the earth. How funny it'll seem to come out among the people that walk with their heads downwards. The antipathies, I think. She was rather glad there was no one listening, as it didn't sound like the right word. But I shall have to ask them what the name of the country is. Please, ma'am, is this New Zealand or Australia? And she tried to curtsy as she spoke. Fancy curtsying as you're falling through the air. Do you think she could manage it? And what an ignorant little girl she'll think me for asking. No, it'll never do to ask. Perhaps I shall see it written up somewhere. They're like a hard fruit-flavored sweet that you suck on. People often complain that they stick to your teeth if you try to chew them. Interesting. Almost sounds maybe like taffy, but harder. I think Werther's Original is a type of boiled sweet. I do love me some Werther's Originals. What do you think? Should we keep Werther's Originals in a glass dish here in the flower bed? Down, down, down. There was nothing else to do, so Alice soon began talking again. Dinah will miss me very much tonight, I should think. Dinah was the cat. Do you guys have any cats? Or pets otherwise? I hope they'll remember her saucer of milk at tea time. Dinah, my dear, I wish you were here with me. There are no mice in the air, I'm afraid, but you might catch a bat, and that's very like a mouse, you know. But do cats eat bats, I wonder? And here Alice began to get rather sleepy, and went on saying to herself in a dreamy sort of way, do cats eat bats? Do cats eat bats? And sometimes do bats eat cats? For you see, as she couldn't answer either question, it didn't much matter which way she put it. She felt that she was dozing off and had just begun to dream now that she was walking hand in hand with Dinah and saying to her very earnestly, "Now, Dinah, tell me the truth. Did you ever eat a bat?" When suddenly, thump, thump, down she came upon a heap of sticks and dry leaves, and the fall was over. I'll have one stuck together ball of Werther's Originals. Be like an everlasting gobstopper, but Werther's Originals. I like those, but I haven't had any for a while, so perhaps we should get some. My favorites are glacier fruits. Glacier fruits, I need to look these up. I have 2 cats, 2 sisters. What are your kitties' names? Is it okay if I ask? Hi, I just joined. I am Elsa Feroz, well, hello, and welcome on in to the flower bed. My name is Opal. We are reading Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and just doing some chatting. I hope you are well, and I hope you enjoy your stay with us. Alice was not a bit hurt, and she jumped up onto her feet in a moment. She looked up, but it was all dark overhead. Before her was another long passage, and the White Rabbit was still in sight, hurrying down it. There was not a moment to be lost. Away went Alice like the wind, and was just in time to hear it say as it turned a corner, "Oh, my ears and whiskers, how late it's getting." She was close behind it when she turned the corner, but the rabbit was no longer to be seen. She found herself in a long, low hall, which was lit up by a row of lamps hanging from the roof. They are called Rosebud and Soxy. Oh, those are such cute names. They are 11 this year. Still babies. Still babies. Forever, forever babies, no matter how old. A beacon so bright, streaming her magic deep into the night. Her laughter a melody, her voice a song. In her pixel-lit world, we all belong. Oh, this is so sweet. Her gaze holds warmth, her smile, pure art. A queen of the screen, she captures the heart. Through chat and through play, her love does flow. A light in the dark, her presence aglow. Opaline, our muse, with a radiant flare in your stream, we find a love beyond compare. You are too sweet. Oh my goodness. That was just the kindest, nicest thing. Thank you, thank you. Oh my goodness gracious me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your presence. 2 meows. I also have 2 meows. There were doors all around the hall, but they were all locked, and when Alice had been all the way down one side and up the other trying every door, she walked sadly down the middle, wondering how she was ever going to get out again. Suddenly she came upon a little 3-legged table, all made of solid glass. There was nothing on it except a tiny golden key, and Alice's first thought was that it might belong to one of the doors of the hall. But alas, either the locks were too large or the key was too small, but at any rate, it would not open any of them. However, on the second time round, she came upon a low curtain she had not noticed before. It was a little door about 15 inches high. She tried the little golden key in the lock, and to her great delight, it fit. They are 2 tuxedo cats. Soxy is called that because she is predominantly black with white paws, so it looks like she's wearing socks. So cute. Rosebud was named after a golden retriever from the Buddies films. I haven't seen the Buddies films. I do love tuxedo kitties. One of mine is also a tuxedo. Kind of similar. She's mostly black, and then it looks as though she has little socks on, little white socks. Alice opened the door and found that it led into a small passage, not much larger than a rat hole. She knelt down and looked along the passage into the loveliest garden you ever saw. How she longed to get out of the dark hall and wander about among those beds of bright flowers and those cool fountains. But she could not even get her head through the doorway. And even if my head would go through, thought poor Alice, it would be of very little use without my shoulders. Oh, how I wish I could shut up like a telescope. I think I could, if only I knew how to begin. For you see, so many out-of-the-way things had happened lately that Alice had begun to think that very few things indeed were really impossible. Another gift. Oh, a star so divine. In your world of wonder I wish to align. Through streams and dreams our paths could meet, a friendship blooming, pure and sweet. I bring my heart, my humor, my cheer, to stand by your side, year after year. With kindness and laughter our bond would grow, a spark of connection, a light to show. Together we'd share both joy and grace, a friendship carved in this digital space. That is lovely, lovely, lovely indeed. I love the cadence it brings. You are too sweet. The Buddies films are about a family of talking only to the audience, golden retrievers getting on adventures. Air buddies, super buddies, and snow buddies. That sounds cute. That sounds adorable. My goodness. I'll have to check them out sometime for sure. There seemed to be no use in waiting by the little door, so she went back to the table, half hoping she might find another key on it, or at any rate a book of rules for shutting people up like telescopes. This time she found a little bottle, which certainly was not here before, said Alice, and round the neck of the bottle was a paper label with the words, "Drink me," beautifully printed in large letters. Can we be friends? Of course. We are all friends in the flower bed here. Gotta head home now. Thanks for the cozy last hour at work. Safe travels home, Elwyn. Thank you for being here. It always means a lot to me to see you. Take care, and I'll see you soon. It was all very well to say, "Drink me," but the wise little Alice was not going to do that in a hurry. "No, I'll look first," she said, "and see whether it's marked poison or not." For she had read several nice little histories about children who had got burnt and eaten up by wild beasts and other unpleasant things, all because they would not remember the simple rules their friends had taught them, such as, a red-hot poker will burn you if you hold on to it too long. If you cut your finger very deeply with a knife, it usually bleeds, and she had never forgotten that if you drink much from a bottle marked poison, it is almost certain to disagree with you, sooner or later. However, this bottle was not marked poison, so Alice ventured to taste it, and finding it very nice, it had in fact a sort of mixed flavor of cherry tart, custard, pineapple, roast turkey, toffee, and hot buttered toast. She very soon finished it off. I don't know how I'd feel about all of those flavors rolled into one mouthful. That sounds quite unpleasant. Can I ask something? Of course. What is on your mind? They are kid films, so be warned. I don't mind kid films. Sometimes it can be comforting to watch kids' movies, right? Snow Buddies was my favorite when I was younger, hence why I named my cat Rosebud. All of the dogs' names have bud in them. That's adorable. Butterball, Mudbud. I'm so here for that type of naming motif. That's so cute. What a curious feeling, said Alice. I must be shutting up like a telescope. And so it was indeed. She was now only 10 inches high, and her face brightened up at the thought that she was now the right size for going through that little door into a lovely garden. First, however, she waited for a few minutes to see if she was going to shrink any further. She felt a little nervous about this, for it might end, you know, said Alice to herself, in my going out altogether, like a candle. I wonder what I should be like then. And she tried to fancy what the flame of a candle is like after the candle is blown out, for she could not remember ever having seen such a thing. Oh, that's quite a conundrum. It's sort of like when you do the thought experiment of wondering what it would be like to not exist anymore. Can't quite manage it. Do you play any games like Roblox, Minecraft, etc.? I do play some games. Admittedly, I have never played either of those though. Let's see. Later this week on Thursday, I'll be playing a horror game. I'll be playing The Classrooms. In the past here, I say that as though it's been more than a couple of weeks so far here, we've played some Harvest Moon. We played a little bit of Hatoful Boyfriend. We'll probably try out some other games in the future too. Yeah. So I do play some games. I do not play them well though, to be entirely honest with you. Like a certain fairy belle. I appreciate that you sneak in those reminders where you can. After a while, finding that nothing more happened, she decided on going into the garden at once. But alas for poor Alice, when she got to the door, she found she had forgotten the little golden key, and when she went back to the table for it, she found she could not possibly reach it. She could see it quite plainly through the glass, and she tried her best to climb up one of the legs of the table, but it was too slippery. And when she had tired herself out with trying, the poor little thing sat down and cried. Dat beef, though. Thank you for joining the flower bed. I hope you enjoy your time here. I like the cozy game streams as well. Yay! I am glad you do, Zach. Do you think we should ever play any Sonic games, you guys? Do you have a community Discord server? I don't. I do not have a community Discord server. After all, it's just a tiny flower bed here. Not much goes on. Sonic Unleashed. Silent side-eye is all I say to that. I too love a cozy game. Cozy game nights can be so nice. Oh, come, there's no use in crying like that, said Alice to herself, rather sharply. I advise you to leave off this minute. She generally gave herself very good advice, though she very seldom followed it, and sometimes she scolded herself so severely as to bring tears into her eyes, and once she remembered trying to box her own ears for having cheated herself in a game of croquet that she was playing against herself. For this curious child was very fond of pretending to be two people. But it's no use now, thought poor Alice, to pretend to be two people. Why, there's hardly enough of me left to make one respectable person. Why the side-eye? It was a good game. Oh, were you suggesting it in earnest? I thought you meant it as a troll suggestion. I do recall playing it. It wasn't as bad as I think it gets a rap for. I would definitely watch Sonic streams. What is your favorite Sonic game, you guys? Wait a minute. Has enough time passed that we can talk about the third Sonic movie yet? Or is that still too much of potential spoiler territory? I was being honest. I'm sorry for doubting you. I think most of the time when I hear people talk about that game, they're bashing on it. Sonic Unleashed, funnily enough. Aha, okay, this makes sense then. I'll have to revisit it sometime. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, and they had such good soundtracks, right, Zach? It's still in cinemas, so I'd say it's still spoilers. I haven't seen it yet. Okay, then we will not yet talk about it. Also, that's a good rule of thumb. I like it. If it's still in theaters, it's not fair game. The music is great. It's so good. So good. Absolutely adore it. Live and learn. Open your heart. Ugh, love it. Grew up on Crush 40. Sorry. No. That was a good point. I'm glad you mentioned it. And the Chow Garden. I still work on my Chow Garden in Sonic Adventure 2. Just because. Rick Seeker, hello and welcome to the flower bed. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoy your time. My name is Opal. We're just doing some cozy reading and chatting. No spoilers. Oh, don't bonk us. Shiki. I feel like by the time the theater run has ended, most people who planned on seeing it would have done so. Makes sense to me. It's a good rule of thumb. I appreciate it. Soon, her eye fell on a little glass box that was lying under the table. She opened it and found in it a very small cake on which the words, "Eat me," were beautifully marked in currants. "Well, I'll eat it," said Alice, "and if it makes me grow larger, I can reach the key. And if it makes me grow smaller, I can creep under the door, so either way, I'll get into the garden, and I don't care which it is." Or they're waiting for the HD version somewhere not in theaters. That too is very likely. She ate a little bit and said anxiously to herself, which way, holding her hand on the top of her head to feel which way it was growing, and she was quite surprised to find that she remained the same size. To be sure, this generally happens when one eats cake, but Alice had got so much into the way of expecting nothing but out-of-the-way things to happen that it seemed quite dull for life to go on in a common way. She set to work and very soon finished off the cake. Probably not the right move, Alice. Probably not great. How is everyone holding up? Are we enjoying story time? Are we nice and cozy? Chapter 2. The Pool of Tears. Sounds so dramatic, so dramatic. Very comfy, cozy, very sleepy. Will that be good? Hopefully you can sleep soon. I'm very much enjoying cozy time. Why are you... Shiki. Why is that in quotation marks? Please do tell. Yeah? Oh, thank goodness. Fluffy. Nice and cozy. Is that Snowy? Is that how I should say your name? Hi. That's the AO immediately following, but hello and welcome. How are you doing? I hope you are well. Hopefully you are ready to snuggle on up and bunker on in for some reading. I am fighting sleep, multitasking reading by reading Order of the Phoenix at the same time. That is another level of skill in multitasking. Teach me your ways. Also, why are you fighting sleep, silly? You should let yourself get some rest. Curiouser and curiouser, cried Alice. She was so much surprised that for the moment she quite forgot how to speak good English. Now I'm opening out like the largest telescope that ever was. Goodbye, feet. For when she looked down at her feet, they seemed to be almost out of sight. They were getting so far off. Oh, my poor little feet, I wonder who will put on your shoes and stockings for you now. I'm sure I shan't be able. I shall be a great deal too far off to trouble myself about you. You must manage the best way you can, but I must be kind to them, thought Alice, or perhaps they won't walk the way I want them to. Let me see. I'll give them a new pair of boots every Christmas. Noted. Alice's love language, at least for giving, is giving gifts. But pretty voice. You are too sweet. Oh my goodness. I'll be back in a couple of nights, I promise. I will always be back here. So don't stay up just for me. Make sure you get good rest. She was barely able to speak English, followed by he pulled out the longest telescope she'd ever seen. You know what? I can't disagree with you there. Some of the phrasing, especially in older literature, can read a little bit funny, a little bit sus even. I'll be front here. I'll be glad to have you. And she went on planning to herself how she would manage it. They must go by the carrier, she thought, and how funny it'll seem sending presents to one's own feet, and how odd the directions will look. Ah, just like last time. Just like last time, indeed. I don't think I will ever forget. What was it? That line about how Christopher Robin grabbed Bear and walked out, trailing a Pooh behind him. The phrasing on that left much to be desired. Very suspect indeed. That's what I'm saying. I won't be able to forget last time as well. Shiki, you're never going to let me live that down, will you? Bye bye. Oh, Snowy. Yes, Zach, it is that one. I forgot that Icy clipped it. That's so funny. It lives on in posterity. Just then, her head struck against the roof of the hall. In fact, she was now more than 9 feet high, and she at once took up the little golden key and hurried off to the garden door. Poor Alice, it was as much as she could do lying down on one side to look through into the garden with one eye. But to get through was more hopeless than ever. She sat down and began to cry again. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, said Alice, a great girl like you. She might well say this, to go on crying in this way. Stop this moment, I tell you. But she went on all the same, shedding gallons of tears until there was a large pool all around her, about 4 inches deep and reaching half down the hall. You're way too emotionally stable. Mother Nature. Oh? And what's this about? Mother Nature. Pray tell. After a time, she heard a little pattering of feet in the distance as she hastily dried her eyes to see what was coming. It was the White Rabbit returning, splendidly dressed with a pair of white kid gloves in one hand and a large fan in the other. He came trotting along in a great hurry, muttering to himself, "Oh, the Duchess, won't she be savage if I've kept her waiting?" Alice felt so desperate that she was ready to ask help of anyone, so when the rabbit came near her, she began in a low, timid voice, "If you please, sir." The rabbit started violently, dropped the white kid gloves and fan, and scurried away into the darkness as hard as he could go. "Are you Mother Nature?" "Me? Mother Nature? Oh no, I'm just a springtime nymph, tending to my own little bed of flowers. Nothing more, nothing less." Me blissfully unaware of whatever this Mother Nature business is. Alice took up the fan and gloves, and as the hall was very hot, she kept fanning herself all the time, saying, "Dear, dear, how queer everything is today. And yesterday things went on just as usual. I wonder if I've been changed in the night. Let me think. Was I the same when I got up this morning? I almost think I can remember feeling a little different. But if I'm not the same, the next question is, who in the world am I? Ah, that's the great puzzle." And she began thinking over all of the children she knew the same age as herself to see if she could have been changed for any of them. That is one of my favorite lines in literature. Who in the world am I? That is the great puzzle. Oh my goodness, hello. Hi, Raiders. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, everybody. Hi, Vixen Blair. How was your stream? Thank you, thank you. Hello. Hi. It's me. Let me be proper. See if I remember how to do a shout out on here. Just a moment. Hi, everybody. Vixen is like, "I've got you. I've got you." Oh, if only. If only we had it set up as a command. But hello, everybody. Hi. Thank you. Thank you for being here. My name is Opaline, but you can call me Opal. I do just some cozy reading streams, some chatting. We try to keep things relaxed and easygoing. The shout out is the one that appears at the top of the chat. Ah-ha-ha. Ah-ha-ha-ha. I appreciate you very much. Let me get back to that real quick. I'm just teaching. No need to. No, but I would like to. I would like to shout out. I am still so new to this, you see. In case that wasn't terribly, terribly obvious. You being raid bringer and helping her, you're asking for it. Exactly. Exactly. 100%. Ooh, will I do this wrong? Will I do this right? We can make her. Oh, you guys are so sweet. You don't have to go out of your way to follow me. I appreciate you all. Oh my goodness. My goodness. But yes, I apologize if you answered it and then I didn't even see. How was your stream? Ah, and how rude of me, I should say. There is no pressure to hang out. I'm sure you could be pooped after streaming. Oh, you guys. So very sweet and so very kind of you. It's summer for me. I'm melting. I grabbed some ice cream. What is your favorite kind of ice cream? I don't know about you guys, but I really like purple cow, vanilla. Ooh, can't go wrong with vanilla. And Shiki, you know I'm new. You know I'm struggling. I've only been here for a couple of weeks. I'm a chocolate lover. Chocolate is so yummy and so refreshing. What is purple cow? It is a black raspberry base with white chocolate and dark chocolate in it. It's very, very yummy. We had over 400. You guys are so sweet. I am just very honored and flattered that you're popping in. It was very kind of you. And Vixen, I hope that you're able to stay cool. Oh my goodness. You're struggling? Shiki, I am always struggling. You guys know this. That sounds so good. I need to find this ice cream. It is really yummy. I swear, I promise, I wouldn't lead you astray, especially when it comes to sweets. Kogure-san likes chocolate too. It's so good. So yummy. Take care, Vixen. I love it here. Yay! I am glad you enjoy being here. Nothing wrong with struggling. You say that. You say that. What's it called again? Oh, the ice cream? It is purple cow. I believe it's technically more of a frozen yogurt. I think so. I think so. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. At least you ain't struggling to spell. Oh, that's right. For those of you who were not here last time, I misspelled Winnie the Pooh in a stream title. We were reading Winnie the Pooh. Fortunately, I didn't misspell the final word in the title, but I have a new keyboard, and while I love how clacky it sounds, it does result in some typos as I'm adjusting to it. Oh, hi, little beast man, how are you? Hello, hello. Hi, hi. Thank you for being here, you guys. So we are just in the middle of reading Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. So I will alternate between reading the passages and chatting with you guys, if that's okay. Is it a brand? I don't think it's a brand. I don't think so, but I certainly, most certainly, could be wrong. Been on quite the Twitch journey, was part of another stream. That stream raided Vixen. Now I'm in the Vixen raid. I'm glad the journey might end here. Stop the raid train on a smaller streamer who is really nice. That's really kind of you to say. I try. Vixen told me to come bully. Said you're super stinky. You know, I don't know Vixen, but from just these interactions, I'm going to call your bluff. They seem far too nice to say that. Ravingo. Hi, hi. Hi, hi. How are you? How about reading Frog and Toad? We absolutely could read some Frog and Toad next time, for sure. You guys, what were some of your favorite bedtime stories to read when you were younger? No stinky here. Hopefully it just smells like flowers. We are, of course, in the flower bed. New streamer. I am a bit newer. I started, I think, December 23rd. And I think this is my 4th or 5th stream. I think. Maybe 5th. I think so. Have follow. Thank you for following. Thank you, Thick Bunny. That's very kind of you. I hope you enjoy your stay. There's a next time. This is your 4th or 5th stream, Shiki. I get the feeling that you just like to tease me a little bit. Am I wrong? Very cozy flower bed. I'm glad you think so, Delta. Thank you. I don't know any of them anymore. I can't remember them. Gasp. Well, maybe. Over time we can read some and they'll spark a memory. My mother used to read me books and stroke my hair, but I can't remember what. There's something so sweet about someone playing with your hair. It's so calming and so soothing. Already followed her, I would. Thank you for following. You guys are gonna make me blush, my goodness. Looks like I'm ending it here, being called for dinner. Short time here, but it was great. I'll definitely come by when you can. Take care and stay safe, Lorraine. I love nicknames. I am very honored to have one. I hope you have a good dinner, and I hope to see you sometime soon. Thank you for following Pool and Retro Skyline Grevolo. Thank you for being here, everybody. It's so sweet of you. I love your voice. Thank you, Nari. Aww. Thank you. It's kind of you to say. I love my hair being stroked, right? I also liked having that done when I was a little girl. It's just so nice. I got rated here. So far, it's really nice. Oh, I'm glad you think so. So very honored you think so. You should see when she games. Spoiler alert for those of you who perhaps come by for any gaming streams in the future. I do my best to keep them cozy and easygoing, but I am not a great gamer, and it shows. Thank you, Opal Sama. Love you. So much love from me to you. Right back at you. If I end up coming here often, you can call me Q to make it easier. Ooh, alright. Can work with Q. It's a cute name. Lilac Sune, thank you for joining our flower bed. It is nice to have you here. Liked when little, I still like it. Me too. Clearly, I still like it, or else we wouldn't be reading things like Winnie the Pooh, or Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, or Dr. Seuss. You know, it occurred to me after we read a little Dr. Seuss the other day. Most of Dr. Seuss is not yet public domain. Oopsie daisies. No one tell on me, okay? I think you're rather an exceptional gamer. Shiki, you don't need to lie to me. You won't hurt my feelings. I can handle the truth. Opal time. Hi, V. Hi. Hello, my sibling. How are you doing? Dr. Seuss. I love Dr. Seuss so much. definitely had that read to me. It was such a wonderful mix of storytelling, the imagery, the artwork was so fun and colorful and poppy. The messages were, of course, nice. I think last time I read Oh, the Places You'll Go, and that's one of my favorite children's stories, largely because it does have that message of life isn't going to be perfect, and that is okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's part of it. It's part of your journey. We get a little bit cheesy here. Don't mind us. Night Storm, thank you for following. Thank you for being here. 40k Horus Heresy novel reading. I beg your pardon? Wait, what is that? Ended up finding the purple cow. Looks like it's something I'll have to make. Delta, if you do make it, you'll have to let us know how it comes out. I would love to hear about it. The Places You'll Go. It's such a good story. Something not cozy, called Right Out. Done been called Right Out. I'm sure I'm not Ada, she said, for her hair goes in such long ringlets, and mine doesn't go in ringlets at all. I'm sure I can't be Mabel, for I know all sorts of things, and she knows such very little. Besides, she's she, and I'm, oh dear, how puzzling it all is. I'll try if I know all the things I used to know. Let me see. 4 times 5 is 12, and 4 times 6 is 13, and 4 times 7 is... Oh dear, I shall never get to 20 at that rate. Oh, however, the multiplication table doesn't signify. Let's try geography. London is the capital of Paris. And Paris is the capital of Rome. And Rome, no, that's all wrong, I'm certain. I must have been changed for Mabel. I'll try and say, how doth the little crocodile? And she crossed her hands on her lap as if she were saying lessons, and began to repeat it. But her voice sounded hoarse and strange, and the words did not come out the same they used to. Raphael Art, thank you for joining the flower bed. I hope you enjoy your stay. London is the capital of Paris. Checks out, doesn't it? Nothing is amiss there. I just had a thought. We're reading public domain books here, but are you allowed to show public domain movies? I believe so. Yes. For those of you who know a Miss Rixie Brightful, I believe she's been doing that lately, and they've been great fun. Are there particular movies you guys would want to watch together? But I must raid and run. Hope to make it to the next stream. It was so nice to meet you. Please do take care, and maybe I'll see you again sometime. Thanks. No, thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Let's see. Is public domain... Wait, what? Hold on. So you're asking... Am I public domain TV? I have no idea how that works. No clue at all. I don't know what movies are public domain. List of public domain movies. Is this stream public domain? I have no idea how that works. No clue at all. Let's see. List of public domain films. Okay. looking for ones that stand out. Steamboat Willie is public domain, of course. I don't know if I have it in me to watch Steamboat Willie. Legally, you're allowed to, but it's a separate issue whether or not it's against terms of service. Good point. Well, I think as we all know, Twitch can be quite intense on their crackdowns. Miko-chan, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining our little flower bed. We could watch A Farewell to Arms. That surely is cozy. We could watch House on Haunted Hill. You guys, have you watched House on Haunted Hill? I am a sucker for anything that has Vincent Price in it. There's The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Oh my goodness. It's a Wonderful Life. Pause. Have you guys seen It's a Wonderful Life? That is one of my absolute favorite movies of all time. I cry every time I watch it. I watch it at least once a year, usually around Christmas time. It is a Jimmy Stewart movie. It is, let me see, it's based on a short story. I didn't know that. But the movie itself was released in 1946. It's almost like an opposite sort of telling in a way of A Christmas Carol, like those types of themes. It follows a young man named George Bailey, played by Jimmy Stewart, and of course with the stereotypical, rather forced transatlantic accent that was quite commonplace during that era of filmmaking. And it follows George Bailey. Without spoiling anything, you get to see all of these little ways that he impacts his loved ones and the people in his life through these everyday choices that he makes to put other people first. And there's an angel, his name is Clarence, and the whole shtick is that in order for an angel to get his wings, he needs to help a human. And Clarence is assigned to help George Bailey. And there's a very now famous trope that comes from this film, and it's the question of what would the lives of those around you, what would it be like if you never existed? And it's really, really quite sweet, and it, you get to see George experience this. I think that would be fun. If ever we do a watch along for a movie, I think we should do It's a Wonderful Life. I could ramble about that movie for ages, so I'm going to force myself to stop. It's just one of those things. It's a wonderful story, a wonderful character, and wonderful lessons, and it's so fun. Oh, hold on. On the flip side, Night of the Living Dead is also in public domain. Could have a back-to-back double feature movie night. Start off very wholesome with It's a Wonderful Life, and then entirely switch gears with some Romero and Night of the Living Dead. Pop off. Thank you for humoring me. What else? I'm not recognizing a lot of what's on this list. Oh, there's a film adaptation of Our Town. I was in a stage production of Our Town once, many, many years ago. Do you guys enjoy going to the theater at all? Not the movie theater, but to see a play, whether a straight play or a musical. It's one of my very favorite things. Conquermas, thank you for joining our little flower bed. I hope you enjoy your stay here. There is a movie in public domain called Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. I beg your pardon? I beg your pardon. I need to see what the synopsis is for this. Star, have you been lurking? Jordan, thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. I think theater is cool. The fact they kind of have to nail it all right in front of an audience is cool, right? There's so much pressure, and there's something magical about being on stage and being in an audience. There's a special relationship and dynamic that comes about between an actor and a live audience. The audience changes the show, even if it's only in minute ways. Those changes are present. The only play I've seen is Cursed Child. How was it? Is that Soma? Hello, Soma. How are you doing? How goes? We gotta watch Santa Conquers the Martians, right? What is this? I hope you've been having a good lurk. Hello, Wanja. Hi. How are you? Bad. I didn't like it. Oh dear. Okay, that tracks then. I'm sorry that it was not a good experience, though. Oh my goodness, especially since that's the only play you've seen. We've got to get you in to see a different play. We need to make up for that experience. I hope you're doing well, but tired, TBH. I'm sorry you're feeling tired, my friend. Oh, that's right. It's not too late for you yet. I was gonna say you could go to sleep, but it might be too early. But I am doing well. Yes, just hanging out, doing some reading, doing some chatting. Here to give you a chance. I will do my best not to let you down. Mixed breed, thank you for stopping on in. My name is Opaline. You can call me Opal. I try to keep things cozy here and keep things easygoing. We do some reading bedtime stories and cozy gaming. I got up at 6. I think my brain is broken. Why so early? My goodness. Thank you, keep warm. Metaphorically and physically, I know it's quite cold in some areas. 6 p.m. is early. I thought you meant 6 a.m. Never mind. Nope. Never mind. That is definitely not what I thought you meant. Why did you wake up so late? The wheel be spinning, but the hamster be dead. Are we getting sidetracked? Cosmic Kawari, thank you for being here and joining our little flower bed. You know 6 a.m. is my bedtime. That's why I was so surprised. I was like, that seems like it doesn't make any sense. That seems like Soma should still be wide awake and maybe streaming, getting up to shenanigans. So Santa Claus Conquers the Martians is a 1964 American Christmas science fiction comedy film. Okay, plot. The Martians are worried that their children are watching too much Earth television. What? most notably Station Kid TV's interview with Santa Claus in his workshop at Earth's North Pole. An 800-year-old Martian sage advises them that the children of Mars are growing distracted due to society's overly rigid structure. Okay, we need a Spark Notes version of this. Hold on. And I love the chill conversation. We gotta break it up a little bit, right? 1964, that's old. That's what I'm saying. It's 7:35. Oh, Selma, are you streaming tonight, Selma? If it's okay to ask. Okay, here we go. Spark Notes version. Martian ruler is upset that the children of Mars are lazy and under the influence of too much pop culture from Earth. They're obsessed with the planet's television programs and don't want to do much of anything. In an attempt to get the kids peppy again, Kimar orders the kidnapping of Santa Claus, hoping that the jolly old toy maker will know how to cheer the children up again. But 2 Earth children are also nabbed, and this complicates things. But why is it called Santa Claus Conquers the Martians? That is so silly. So silly. Don't know if I do. I must sleep before 2 a.m. I will visit the Hat Man. The Hat Man? The Hat Man. Soma, you know I'm bad with... Okay. You know I'm bad with these things. Pardon. Hopefully I'm killing it on Twitch. Cyberflux. Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing? It's good to see you. Hi. Elon versus Santa. Alright, which one of you is going to pitch that film formally? Santa gonna go on a rampage. Plenty of horror Santa games. Are there horror Santa games? Are there? Should we play them? No, it's not in season anymore, is it? Hatman visits you when you have taken one too many Benadryl. I have certainly been there, I understand. Oh dear. Benadryl is a useful thing for that. Indeed, indeed. I so hope you guys didn't just hear my stomach growl. Oh my gosh. 'Tis the season. Is it always the season if we want it to be? There's a cleanup game where you clean up after one of Santa's massacres. What? What? Do we know the title of this game? Heard your keys. Not yours, dummy. Okay, good. That is good. I was wondering what that was. Oh no, I am so sorry. Everybody. Oh. We need to have snack time in the flower bed, except not actually. I will not eat on stream. I will not subject you all to that. Viscera cleanup detail. Santa's rampage. I love that. Okay, so that sounds like it's part of a series, perhaps. Phoenix Tears, thank you for joining the flower bed. I hope you enjoy your stay. Don't apologize. Do it again. No. I can't just do it on command, but it probably will happen again. Let's be honest. I actually loved Viscera Cleanup Detail, so I should have known it was from that. I'm not familiar with it at all. I love eating on stream. It's highly productive. Is it? I think I'd be too focused on eating and hoping I don't get food on my keyboard. I think it's a little DLC. Huh. Perhaps we can check it out sometime. Is it terribly gory? The name suggests it would be. Oh. I want to know who wins, Santa or the Martians. It's gotta be Santa. It says he conquers them. It's pretty gory. It looks pretty gory. That could be interesting to see if we can make that type of content cozy, if you will. How much time do you think has passed since we last actually read a passage from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland? How many minutes have gone by, have passed us over? I'm picturing Mars Attacks in my head. Yes! I loved that movie so much. It was one of my favorites. It's a supernatural cleanup game. There's also Crime Scene Cleaner. I am familiar with Crime Scene Cleaner. I've watched someone play a bit of that, I think. It's been a billion years. It's been, is it 84 years? Is that the Titanic line? You were reading? Shiki. Why must you do this to me? Knew you would be familiar. What does that mean? What does that mean? I love Viscera Cleanup Detail ASMR. It's hard to come by, but I love it. Oh, is there a particular subgenre just for that? We keep interrupting it, and I keep getting sidetracked. It's quite the combination, you know? Oopsie daisies. And that is okay. How doth the little crocodile improve his shining tail and pour the waters of the Nile on every golden scale? How cheerfully he seems to grin, how neatly spread his claws, and welcome little fishes in with gently smiling jaws. I'm sure those are not the right words, said poor Alice, and her eyes filled with tears again as she went on. I must be Mabel after all, and I shall have to go and live in that poky little house and have next to no toys to play with, and oh, ever so many lessons to learn. No, I've made up my mind about it. If I am Mabel, I'll stay down here. It'll be no use their putting their heads down and saying, "Come up again, dear." I shall only look up and say, "Who am I then? Tell me that first. And then if I like being that person, I'll come up. If not, I'll stay down here till I'm somebody else." But oh dear, cried Alice with a sudden burst of tears, I do wish they would put their heads down. I am so very tired of being all alone here. Not me making myself sleepy. Oh, goodness gracious me. And I lost my place. Such a struggle. Such a struggle it is indeed. As she said this, she looked down at her hands and was surprised to see that she had put on one of the rabbit's little white kid gloves while she was talking. How can I have done that? She thought. I must be growing small again. She got up and went to the table to measure herself by it, and found that, as nearly as she could guess, she was now about 2 feet high, and was going on shrinking rapidly. She soon found out that the cause of this was the fan she was holding, and she dropped it hastily, just in time to avoid shrinking away altogether. Talalia, thank you for joining our flower bed here. I hope you enjoy your stay. Signs of aging. I am rather decrepit, am I not? That's okay. Thank you for putting up with me all the same. That was a narrow escape, said Alice, a good deal frightened at the sudden change, but very glad to find herself still in existence. And now for the garden. and she ran with all speed back to the little door. But alas, the little door was shut again, and the little golden key was lying on the glass table as before. And things are worse than ever, thought the poor child, for I never was so small as this before. Never. And I declare it's too bad, that it is. As she said these words, her foot slipped, and in another moment, splash, she was up to her chin in salt water. Her first idea was that she had somehow fallen into the sea, and in that case, I can go back by railway. She said to herself. Alice had been to the seaside once in her life, and had come to the general conclusion that wherever you go to on the English coast, you find a number of bathing machines in the sea, some children digging in the sand with wooden spades, then a row of lodging houses, and behind them, a railway station. However, she soon made out that she was in the pool of tears which she had wept when she was 9 feet high. I wish I hadn't cried so much, said Alice as she swam about, trying to find her way out. I shall be punished for it now, I suppose, by being drowned in my own tears. That will be a queer thing, to be sure. However, everything is queer today. Just then she heard something splashing about in the pool a little way off, and she swam nearer to make out what it was at first. She thought it must be a walrus or a hippopotamus, but then she remembered how small she was now, and she soon made out that it was only a mouse that had slipped in like herself. Are you queer? Is chat queer? Everything and everyone is queer. Another fun instance in which vocabulary meanings change colloquially as time goes on. Would it be of any use now, thought Alice, to speak to this mouse? Everything is so out of the way down here that I should think very likely it can talk. At any rate, there's no harm in trying. So she began, "Oh, mouse, do you know the way out of this pool? I am very tired of swimming about here." Alice thought this must be the right way of speaking to a mouse. She had never done such a thing before, but she remembered having seen in her brother's Latin grammar a mouse of a mouse to a mouse, oh mouse. The mouse looked at her rather inquisitively and seemed to her to wink with one of its little eyes, but it said nothing. Waifu Milk, thank you for joining our flower bed. I hope you enjoy your time here of some cozy stories and just chatting. Sleepy, is it nap time, Kogure-san? Perhaps it doesn't understand English, thought Alice. I dare say it's a French mouse, come over with William the Conqueror. For with all her knowledge of history, Alice had no very clear notion how long ago anything had happened. So she began again. Oh, that's French. I cannot speak French. Which was the first sentence in her French lesson book. The mouse gave a sudden leap out of the water and seemed to quiver all over with fright. "Oh, I beg your pardon," cried Alice hastily, afraid she had hurt the poor animal's feelings. "I quite forgot you didn't like cats." Can't speak or refuse to speak French? Can't speak. The only other language I know, other as in other than English, is Latin, which is not very useful in everyday conversation. Je suis baguette. Night Air, thank you for following. Thank you for joining our flower bed. Thank you for being here. Not like cats, cried the mouse in a shrill, passionate voice. Would you like cats if you were me? Well, perhaps not, said Alice in a soothing tone. Don't be angry about it. And yet I wish I could show you our cat, Dinah. I think you'd take a fancy to cats if you could only see her. She is such a dear, quiet thing. Alice went on half to herself as she swam lazily about in the pool. And she sits purring so nicely by the fire, licking her paws and washing her face, and she is such a nice, soft thing to nurse. And she's such a capital one for catching mice. Oh, I beg your pardon, cried Alice again, for this time the mouse was bristling all over, and she felt rather certain it must be really offended. We won't talk about her anymore if you'd rather not. Your English is really good. Oh, it's subpar at best, Shiki. You don't need to humor me, it's okay. I beg your pardon, Meow Rarwolf. Arcane Season 2. I still need to watch Season 2 of Arcane. Was it good? Did you guys watch Season 2 of Arcane? Would you recommend? We indeed, cried the mouse, who was trembling down to the end of his tail, as if I would talk on such a subject. Our family always hated cats, nasty, low, vulgar things. Don't let me hear the name again. You have feelings about cats here. I love the way you speak. Aw, shucks. Very good. Loved it. Okay, got a strong review. I think season 1 was a stronger narrative, but it is really good. Alright. I'll get there. I'll end up watching this. Someday. Someday I will watch season 2. I did quite enjoy season 1, for sure. There goes my stomach again. I am so sorry if you guys can actually hear that. They announced the next League show already. They are staying on top of it, I see. Admittedly, Arcane is the most familiarity I have with it. I cannot hear it. Thank goodness for that. That is not the ASMR anyone signed up for here. I won't indeed, said Alice in a great hurry to change the subject of conversation. Are you fond of dogs? The mouse did not answer, so Alice went on eagerly. There is such a nice little dog near our house I should like to show you. A little bright-eyed terrier, you know, with such long, curly brown hair, and it'll fetch things when you throw them, and it'll sit up and beg for its dinner, and all sorts of things. I can't remember half of them. And it belongs to a farmer, you know. He says it's so useful it's worth 100 pounds. He says it kills all the rats and... Oh, dear, cried Alice in a sorrowful tone. I'm afraid I've offended it again. For the mouse was swimming away from her as hard as it could go and making quite a commotion in the pool as it went. So she called softly after it, Mouse dear, do come back again, and we won't talk about cats or dogs either if you don't like them. When the mouse heard this, it turned round and swam slowly back to her. Its face was quite pale with passion, Alice thought, and it said in a low, trembling voice, Let us go to the shore, and then I'll tell you my story, and you'll understand why I hate cats and dogs. It was high time to go, for the pool was getting quite crowded with the birds and animals that had fallen into it. There was a duck and a dodo, a lory and an eaglet, and several other curious creatures. Alice led the way, and the whole party swam to shore. I do agree that season 1 had a stronger narrative. I believe they cut quite a bit out of season 2. And it was detrimental, but I still loved it. Alright, okay. So, not as good as season 1, but still worth watching. I will have to check it out. How is everyone holding up? Are we still cozy? Are we still comfy? Because we are now finished with 2 chapters of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. And it only took us 2 hours. I'm good and comfy. Perfect. Very good, still sleepy and still awake. My goodness. This is a nice reprieve from the 30C. 30C I am suffering from. What do you mean 30C? Fighting for my life out here. Are you... Shiki, what's wrong? Are you okay? Very cozy. Perfect. It's exactly what I like to hear, my dear blooms. 30 Celsius, I'd imagine. Are we talking about a fever? Oh, okay. We are talking just about temperature. Words are a struggle. Okay. Make sure you take care of yourself as best you can. Last Jack, thank you for joining our little flower bed. I hope you enjoy your stay. Chapter 3, a caucus race and a long tail. They were indeed a queer-looking party. How many times do you think Lewis Carroll wrote the word queer in this book alone? Hello from work. Hello, Jin. How are you holding up? How is work so far? 30C is hot. Take care. Oh no. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Dreamway. Hi. Thank you for joining. Shout out to the queers in which Lewis Carroll was giving many shout outs unbeknownst to him at the time. The birds with draggled feathers, the animals with their fur clinging close to them, and all dripping wet, cross and uncomfortable. The first question, of course, was how to get dry again. They had a consultation about this, and after a few minutes it seemed quite natural to Alice to find herself talking familiarly with them, as if she had known them all her life. Indeed, she had quite a long argument with the Lorry, who at last turned sulky and would only say, "I am older than you and must know better." And this Alice would not allow without knowing how old it was, as the Lorry positively refused to tell its age, as there was no more to be said. Slaving away, but I'm surviving. I think I'm starting to feel the physical fatigue of getting old. Jin, you are a whippersnapper. Don't give me that. But, don't overwork yourself. Don't take on too much, okay? Be careful. Shout out to the queers and queerettes. I don't think I've heard queerettes before, but I am very here for it. I'm very fond of, is it Thomas Sanders, who says guys, gals, and non-binary pals? What is a whippersnapper? It's you, whippersnapper. Just a youth, a youngin'. I just made it up. I love it. 10 out of 10. I think it's quite fun. At last, the mouse, who seemed to be a person of authority among them, called out, "Sit down, all of you, and listen to me. I'll soon make you dry." They all sat down at once in a large ring with the mouse in the middle. Alice kept her eyes anxiously fixed on it, for she felt sure she would catch a bad cold if she did not get dry very soon. "Ahem," said the mouse with an important air. "Are you all ready? This is the driest thing I know. Silence all around, if you please. William the Conqueror, whose cause was favored by the Pope, was soon submitted to by the English, who wanted leaders and had been of late much accustomed to usurpation and conquest. Edwin and Mark are the Earls of Mercia and Northumbria. Ugh, said the Lory, with a shiver. I beg your pardon, said the Mouse, frowning, but very politely. Did you speak? Not I, said the Lory, hastily. Washed my hands. Hygiene is important. Jesus H. Trust. That is such a fantastic name. Thank you for joining our little flower bed. I hope you enjoy your stay here. I thought you did, said the Mouse. I proceed. Edwin and Morse are the Eels of Mercia, and Northumbria declared for him, and even the patriotic Archbishop of Canterbury found it advisable. Found what? Said the Duck. Found it, the Mouse replied rather crossly. Of course you know what it means. I know what it means well enough when I find a thing, said the Duck. It's generally a frog or a worm. The question is, what did the Archbishop find? The Mouse did not notice this question, but hurriedly went on. Found it advisable to go with Edgar Atheling to meet William and offer him the crown. William's conduct at first was moderate, but the insolence of his Normans. How are you getting on now, my dear? It continued, turning to Alice as it spoke. It's quite polite to Alice, given how she terrified it earlier. It's unexpected. As wet as ever, said Alice in a melancholy tone. It doesn't seem to dry me at all. In that case, said the Dodo solemnly, rising to its feet, I move that the meeting adjourn for the immediate adoption of more energetic remedies. Oh, speak English, said the Eaglet. I don't know the meaning of half those long words, and what's more, I don't believe you do either. And the Eaglet bent down its head to hide a smile. Some of the other birds tittered audibly. Please learn hypnosis. Welcome to our flower bed. I hope you enjoy your stay here as we read some Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Hi, how are you doing? Do you practice hypnosis? Please learn hypnosis, and to the rest of you as well. Have any of you ever been hypnotized? Someone tried to hypnotize me once, but when I say it didn't work, I'm going to phrase that as they were learning, so perhaps it was just the person doing it. I do. You do, really? How long have you done so for? I want to be hypnotized. Sounds cool. Well, we might know who to go to for it. I'm hypnotized right now. That comforting voice. You are too sweet. Nope, but I've seen some unethical online attempts at it. That's incredibly concerning. When you say unethical, oh no. No, I don't think I want to know. That could go so wrong. There are so many ways that people could be taken advantage of. My goodness. Autocorrect, please. Autocorrect is also sleepy. It's not even that late here. It's just 5 minutes after 11 p.m. and yet I find myself quite tired. They DM you a bunch of passages attempting to hypnotize you via messages. That's horrible. My gosh. Big yawn. Bless you. Big yawn. Oh no. Many yawns. Are you guys sleepy? Because apparently I am sleepy. But onward we go. For there are many miles to go before we sleep. You should sleep. You should definitely sleep. Not to say I don't want you here, but you need sleep, silly. You're making me yawn now. Sorry, Zach. But did you know? If you yawn because you've seen someone else yawn, it means you have a good sympathetic nervous system, supposedly. Hi, Sleepy. I am Shiki. It's 3 p.m. for me, so not very sleepy. Fair enough. That's always such a fun time difference. Hypnosis is ready to snooze, but it's only 4 a.m. What time would you normally go to bed? My goodness. What I was going to say, said the dodo in an offended tone, was that the best thing to get us dry would be a caucus race. What is that? Said Alice, not that she wanted much to know, but the dodo had paused as if it thought that somebody ought to speak, and no one else seemed inclined to say anything. Why, said the dodo, the best way to explain it is to do it. And as you might like to try the thing yourself some winter day, I will tell you how the dodo managed it. About 11 p.m., if you normally are asleep at 11, why are you up at 4? First, it marked out a race course in a sort of circle. The exact shape doesn't matter, it said, and then all the party were placed along the course here and there. There was no 1, 2, 3, and away, but they began running when they liked and left off when they liked, so that it was not easy to know when the race was over. However, when they had been running half an hour or so and were quite dry again, the dodo suddenly called out, "The race is over," and they all crowded around it, panting and asking, "But who has won?" The question the dodo could not answer without a great deal of thought, and it sat for a long time with one finger pressed upon its forehead, the position in which you usually see Shakespeare in the pictures of him, while the rest waited in silence. At last the dodo said, "Everybody has won, and all must have prizes." "But who is to give the prizes?" quite a chorus of voices asked. "Why, she, of course," said the dodo, pointing to Alice with one finger, and the whole party at once crowded round her, calling out in a confused way, "Prizes, prizes." Pretty voice. But we've only been here for a couple of hours. You are already up far later than usual. Alice had no idea what to do, and in despair she put her hand in her pocket and pulled out a box of comfits. Luckily the salt water had not gotten into it, and handed them round as prizes. There was exactly one apiece all around. "But she must have a prize herself, you know," said the mouse. "Of course," the dodo replied very gravely. "What else have you got in your pocket?" he went on, turning to Alice. I cannot read those lines without thinking, what has it got in its pockets? Just a little golem, of course. Had a late night beforehand. Fair enough. Are you okay? Just make sure you get rest at some point. Sleep is important. Okay, I don't actually want to badger you, but I worry. Do you guys like the Lord of the Rings series. I am very fond of it myself. It's one of my absolute favorite things in the entire world. Not to be hyperbolic, of course. Something's happened, but just life. No need to worry. I see. Well, I hope that whatever it is, that all goes well soon, and that you can get some good rest in. Kokore-san. Only a thimble, said Alice sadly. Hand it over here, said the dodo. Then they all crowded round her once more, while the dodo solemnly presented the thimble, saying, "We beg your acceptance of this elegant thimble." And when it had finished this short speech, they all cheered. Alice thought the whole thing very absurd, but they all looked so grave that she did not dare to laugh, and as she could not think of anything to say, she simply bowed and took the thimble, looking as solemn as she could. The next thing was to eat the comfits. This caused some noise and confusion, as the large birds complained that they could not taste theirs, and the small ones choked and had to be patted on the back. However, it was over at last, and they sat down again in a ring and begged the mouse to tell them something more. Lord of the Rings is great, but I'm more team Harry Potter. That's right. We did have a brief discussion earlier about Harry Potter and how we have some Ravenclaws and Hufflepuffs present. I wonder if any Gryffindors or Slytherins have since joined us. Well, you guys, the next thing, oh wait, no, we read that already. Aha, you promised to tell me your history, you know, said Alice, and why it is you hate C and D, she added in a whisper, half afraid that it would be offended again. 193 followers, only 7 away from 200. Oh my goodness. You guys are spoiling me. Ravenclaw over here, more Ravenclaws. Lovely to have you on board. Maybe I should follow. Are you not following, Shiki? Are you not? Huff the Puff here. That was so on brand, I feel like. Mine is a long and a sad tale, said the mouse, turning to Alice and sighing. It is a long tale, certainly, said Alice, looking down with wonder at the mouse's tail. But why do you call it sad? And she kept on puzzling about it while the mouse was speaking, so that her idea of the tale was something like this. Fury said to a mouse that he met in the house, "Let us both go to law. I will prosecute you. Come, I'll take no denial. We must have a trial, for really this morning I've nothing to do." Said the mouse to the cur, "Such a trial, dear sir, with no jury or judge, would be wasting our breath." "I'll be judge, I'll be jury," said cunning old Fury. "I'll try the whole cause and condemn you to death." Oh, that got dark. He did say it was a sad tale. I do like to be on brand. Even my name's part Hufflepuff colored. Oh, you're right. Consistencies abound. Cold and ice, thank you for joining our little flower bed here. Thank you. I hope you do enjoy your stay. Wow, almost 200 followers, right? How did that happen? My goodness. I'm very honored to have you guys here with me. "You are not attending," said the mouse to Alice severely. "What are you thinking of?" "I beg your pardon," said Alice very humbly. "You had got to the 5th bend, I think?" "I had not," cried the mouse, sharply and angrily. Marley Chichi, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you also for joining. Very honored indeed. I am honored. I also have a big Hufflepuff pillow. Yep, the on-brandness continues. When I joined, you were on like 125 ? Followers. Really? Has it really jumped up that much? We have been spoiled. My goodness. Hello, I'd like to tell you a story. I was not ready for this at all. La Magi. This is the story about how my life got turned upside down. I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there, and I'll tell you how I became the prince of a town called Bel Air. Did not see that coming. Most certainly did not. A knot, speaking of which, said Alice, always ready to make herself useful and looking anxiously about her. Oh, do let me help to undo it. I shall do nothing of the sort, said the mouse, getting up and walking away. You insult me by talking such nonsense. I didn't mean it, pleaded poor Alice, but you're so easily offended, you know. The mouse only growled in reply. Please come back and finish your story, Alice called after it, and the others all joined in chorus. Yes, please do. But the mouse only shook its head impatiently and walked a little quicker. What a pity it wouldn't stay, sighed the Lory as soon as it was quite out of sight, and an old crab took the opportunity of saying to her daughter, Ah, my dear, let this be a lesson to you, never to lose your temper. Hold your tongue, Ma, said the young crab a little snappishly. You're enough to try the patience of an oyster. Oh, such attitude, oh my. I wish I had our Dinah here, I know I do, said Alice aloud, addressing nobody in particular. She'd soon fetch it back. And who is Dinah, if I might venture to ask? Said the Lory. Alice replied eagerly, for she was always ready to talk about her pet. Dinah's our cat, and she's such a capital one for catching mice, you can't think. And oh, I wish you could see her after the birds. Why, she'll eat a little bird as soon as look at it. This speech caused a remarkable sensation among the party. Some of the birds hurried off at once. One old magpie began wrapping itself up very carefully, remarking, I really must be getting home, the night air doesn't suit my throat. And a canary called out in a trembling voice to its children, Come away, my dears, it's high time you were all in bed. On various pretexts, they all moved off, and Alice was soon left alone. I wish I hadn't mentioned Dinah, she said to herself in a melancholy tone. Nobody seems to like her down here, and I'm sure she's the best cat in the whole world. Oh, my dear Dinah, I wonder if I shall ever see you any more. And there poor Alice began to cry again, for she felt very lonely and low-spirited. In a little while, however, she again heard a little pattering of footsteps in the distance, and she looked up eagerly, half hoping that the mouse had changed his mind and was coming back to finish his story. Are you guys sleepy? I can't stop yawning. I am so sorry. Yawn. Go eat. I may sleep soon. I might. Thinking about it. I'm considering it, even. Do not be sorry. The yawning's cute. I'm glad you think so. Star, are you sleepy? I know it's not as late for you, but still. Okay. What do we think? One more chapter? And then maybe, just maybe, it's bedtime. I like the yawning. Shiki. I never know if you're being serious or not. Chapter 4. The rabbit sends in a little bill. Might have to put the phone down and sleep myself if it's your bedtime soon. I am tempted to end stream just if it will help give you incentive to sleep. Oh me, oh my. Good. Not to say I'm happy you're leaving, but I am happy you'll be getting some rest. Thank you for spending time here, and hopefully I'll see you again sometime soon. Good night and sweet dreams. Your voice do be very calming. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm very flattered you think so. It was the White Rabbit, trotting slowly back again, and looking anxiously about as it went, as if it had lost something, and she heard it muttering to itself, the Duchess, oh my dear paws, oh my fur and whiskers. She'll get me executed, as sure as ferrets are ferrets. Where can I have dropped them, I wonder? Alice guessed in a moment that it was looking for the fan and the pair of white kid gloves, and she very good-naturedly began hunting about for them, but they were nowhere to be seen. Everything seemed to have changed since her swim in the pool, and the great hall, with the glass table and the little door, had vanished completely. Mist and Sindri, thank you so much, both of you, for joining our little flower bed. I hope you enjoy your stay of some cozy bedtime reading. Very soon, the rabbit noticed Alice as she went hunting about and called out to her in an angry tone, "Why, Marianne, what are you doing out here? Run home this moment and fetch me a pair of gloves and a fan. Quick." And Alice was so much frightened that she ran off at once in the direction it pointed to, without trying to explain the mistake it had made. "He took me for his housemaid," she said to herself as she ran. "How surprised he'll be when he finds out who I am. But I'd better take him his fan and gloves. That is, if I can find them." As she said this, she came upon a neat little house on the door of which was a bright brass plate with the name W. Rabbit engraved upon it. She went in without knocking and hurried upstairs, in great fear lest she should meet the real Marianne and be turned out of the house before she had found the fan and gloves. "How queer it seems," Alice said to herself, "to be going messages for a rabbit. I suppose Dinah will be sending me on messages next." And she began fancying the sort of thing that would happen. "Oh, Miss Alice, come here directly and get ready for your walk. Coming in a minute, nurse, but I've got to see that the mouse doesn't get out. Only I don't think," Alice went on, "that they'd let Dinah stop in the house if it began ordering people around like that." By this time, she had found her way into a tidy little room with a table in the window, and on it, as she had hoped, a fan and 2 or 3 pairs of tiny white kid gloves. She took up the fan and pair of the gloves and was just going to leave the room when her eyes fell upon a little bottle that stood near the looking-glass. There was no label this time with the words "Drink me," but nevertheless she uncorked it and put it to her lips. "I know something interesting is sure to happen," she said to herself, whenever I eat or drink anything, so I'll just see what this bottle does. I do hope it'll make me grow large again, for really, I'm quite tired of being such a tiny little thing. It did so indeed, and much sooner than she expected. Before she had drunk half the bottle, she found her head pressing against the ceiling and had to stoop to save her neck from being broken. She hastily put down the bottle, saying to herself, "That's quite enough. I hope I shan't grow any more. As it is, I can't get out the door. I do wish I hadn't drunk so much." Alas, it was too late to wish that. She went on growing and growing, and very soon had to kneel on the floor. In another minute there was not even room for this, and she tried the effect of laying down with one elbow against the door and the other arm curled around her head. Still, she went on growing, and as a last resource, she put one arm out of the window and one foot up the chimney, and said to herself, "Now I can do no more. Whatever happens, what will become of me?" Alice is not having a great time. I think perhaps she is struggling just a bit. Chewy Chum Chum, thank you for joining our flower bed. I hope you have a nice and cozy stay. Luckily for Alice, the little magic bottle had now had its full effect, and she grew no larger. Still, it was very uncomfortable, and as there seemed to be no sort of chance of her ever getting out of the room again, no wonder she felt unhappy. It was much pleasanter at home, thought poor Alice, when one wasn't always growing larger and smaller and being ordered about by mice and rabbits. I almost wish I hadn't gone down that rabbit hole, and yet, it's rather curious, you know, this sort of life. I do wonder what can have happened to me. When I used to read fairy tales, I fancied that kind of thing never happened, and now here I am, in the middle of one. There ought to be a book written about me, that there ought, and when I grow up, I'll write one. But I'm grown up now, she added in a sorrowful tone. At least there's no room to grow up any more here. But then, thought Alice, shall I never get any older than I am now? That'll be a comfort one way, never to be an old woman, but then always to have lessons to learn. Oh, I shouldn't like that. Soma, did you just return, perhaps? Oh, you foolish Alice, she answered herself. How can you learn lessons here? Why, there's hardly room for you, and no room at all for any lesson books. For a minute, carry on. Yes, sir. Marianne, Marianne, said the voice, fetch me my gloves this moment. Opal affiliate when? Opal affiliate never. I don't think we'll do that. I don't think we will. Then came a little pattering of feet on the stairs. Alice knew it was the rabbit coming to look for her, and she trembled till she shook the house, quite forgetting that she now was about 1,000 times as large as the rabbit. And no reason not to be afraid of it. Presently the rabbit came up to the door and tried to open it, but as the door opened inwards and Alice's elbow was pressed hard against it, that attempt proved a failure. Alice heard it say to itself, "Then I'll go around and get in at the window." That you won't, thought Alice, and after waiting till she fancied she heard the rabbit just under the window, she suddenly spread out her hand and made a snatch in the air. She did not get hold of anything, but she heard a little shriek and a fall and a crash of broken glass, from which she concluded that it was just possible it had fallen into a cucumber frame, or something of that sort. Can you have emotes? We'd need to do affiliate in order to have our own emotes in here, so nope. You can use BTTV, FFC, or 7TV. Oh my. Note to self, don't try to read while yawning, which is only visible to other people using those extensions. Oh, it's one of those. One of those things. Next came an angry voice. The rabbits. Pat, Pat, where are you? And then a voice she had never heard before. Sure, then I'm here digging for apples, Your Honor. Digging for apples, indeed, said the rabbit angrily. Here, come help me out of this. Eepy, Eepy, eepy indeed. Hello, BLT. Hello, hello. How are you doing? Digging for apples indeed. Here, come and help me out of this. Sounds of more broken glass. Now tell me, Pat, what's that in the window? Sure, it's an arm, Your Honor. He pronounced it. Arm. An arm, you goose. Who ever saw one that size? Why, it fills the whole window. Sure it does, Your Honor, but it's an arm, for all that. Well, it's got no business there. At any rate, go and take it away. There was a long silence after this, and Alice could only hear whispers now and then, such as, Sure, I don't like it, Your Honor, at all, at all. Do as I tell you, you coward. And at last she spread out her hand again and made another snatch in the air. This time there were 2 little shrieks and more sounds of broken glass. What a number of cucumber frames there must be, thought Alice. I wonder what they'll do next. As for pulling me out of the window, I only wish they could. I'm sure I don't want to stay in here for any longer. A lot of people use them for extra emotes or emotes that would not be allowed on Twitch. The more you know. Sup, sup. All good? Back from work and got dinner. You brought dinner? My tummy has been a rumbling. Airlift me some. Send me some via carrier pigeon. Ready for tomorrow? I'm not scared. This'll be totally fine. It'll for sure be a cozy and calm and not terrifying stream at all. BLT, we've got this. Your tummy has been rumbling. Is it a boy or a girl? Only a great lack. A lack of food. And a great need for some. Alas. We got this, BLT. We totally got this. We can do this. Can't stop yawning. She waited for some time without hearing anything more. At last came a rumbling of little cartwheels and the sound of a good many voices all talking together. She made out the words, "Where's the other ladder? Why, I hadn't to bring but one. Bill's got the other. Bill, fetch it here, lad. Here, put 'em up at this corner. Tie 'em together first. They don't reach half high enough yet. Oh, they'll do well enough, don't be particular. Catch hold of this rope. Will the roof bear? Mind that loose slate. Oh, it's coming down. Heads below. A loud crash. Now who did that? It was Bill, I fancy. Who's to go down the chimney? Nay, I shan't. You do it. That I won't. Bill's to go down. Here, Bill. The master says you're to go down the chimney. Okay, Bill got the short end of the stick. Oh, so Bill's got to come down the chimney, has he? Said Alice to herself. Shy, they seem to put everything upon Bill. I wouldn't be in Bill's place for a good deal. This fireplace is narrow, to be sure. but I think I can kick a little. She drew her foot as far down the chimney as she could and waited till she heard a little animal, she couldn't guess of what sort, scratching and scrambling about in the chimney, close above her. Then, saying to herself, "This is Bill," she gave one sharp kick and waited to see what would happen. The first thing she heard was a general chorus of, "There goes Bill." Then the rabbit's voice, "Catch him by the hedge." Then silence and another confusion of voices. "Hold up his head. Brandy, now don't choke him. How was it, old fellow? What happened?" Last came a little feeble, squeaking voice. "That's Bill," thought Alice. "Well, I hardly know. No more, thank ye. I'm better now. But I'm a deal too flustered to tell you. All I know is something came at me like a jack-in-the-box, and up I goes like a skyrocket." "So you did, old fellow," said the others. We must burn the house down," said Rabbit's voice, and Alice called out as loud as she could, "If you do, I'll set Dinah on you." There was a dead silence instantly, and Alice thought to herself, "I wonder what they will do next. If they had any sense, they'd take the roof off." After a minute or two, they began moving about again, and Alice heard Rabbit say, "A barrowful will do, to begin with." A barrowful of what? Thought Alice, but she had not long to doubt, for the next moment a shower of little pebbles came rattling in at the window, and some of them hit her in the face. "I'll put a stop to this," she said to herself, and shouted out, "You'd better not do that again," which produced another dead silence. Alice noticed with some surprise that the pebbles were all turning into little cakes as they lay on the floor, and a bright idea came into her head. "If I eat one of these cakes," she thought, "it's sure to make some change in my size, and as it can't possibly make me larger, it must make me smaller." Withered Normie, thank you for joining our little flower bed. I hope you enjoy your stay. So she swallowed one of the cakes and was delighted to find that she began shrinking directly. As soon as she was small enough to get through the door, she ran out of the house and found quite a crowd of little animals and birds waiting outside. The poor little lizard, Bill, was in the middle, being held up by 2 guinea pigs who were giving it something out of a bottle. They all made a rush at Alice the moment she appeared, but she ran off as hard as she could and soon found herself safe in a thick wood. "The first thing I've got to do," said Alice to herself as she wandered about the wood, "is to grow to my right size again, and the second thing is to find my way into that lovely garden. I think that will be the best plan." It sounded an excellent plan, no doubt, and very neatly and simply arranged. The only difficulty was that she had not the smallest idea how to set about it, and while she was peering about anxiously among the trees, a little sharp bark just over her head made her look up in a great hurry. An enormous puppy was looking down at her with large, round eyes, and feebly stretching out one paw, trying to touch her. "Poor little thing," said Alice in a coaxing tone, and she tried hard to whistle to it. But she was terribly frightened all the time at the thought that it might be hungry, in which case it would be very likely to eat her up in spite of coaxing. Hardly knowing what she did, she picked up a little bit of stick and held it out to the puppy, whereupon the puppy jumped into the air off all its feet at once with a yelp of delight and rushed at the stick and made believe to worry it. Then Alice dodged behind a great thistle to keep herself from being run over, and the moment she appeared on the other side, the puppy made another rush at the stick and tumbled head over heels in its hurry to get a hold of it. Then Alice, thinking it was very like having a game of play with a cart horse and expecting every moment to be trampled under its feet, ran around the thistle again. Then the puppy began a series of short charges at the stick, running very little way forwards each time and a long way back, and barking hoarsely all the while, till at last it sat down a good way off, panting, with its tongue hanging out of its mouth and its great eyes half shut. This seemed to Alice a good opportunity for making her escape, so she set off at once and ran till she was quite tired and out of breath, and till the puppy's bark sounded quite faint in the distance. And yet, what a dear little puppy it was, said Alice as she leaned against a buttercup to rest herself, and fanned herself with one of the leaves. I should have liked teaching it tricks very much, if only I'd been the right size to do it. Oh dear, I'd nearly forgotten that I've got to grow up again. Let me see, how is it to be managed? I suppose I ought to eat or drink something or other, but the great question is, what? The great question certainly was, what? Alice looked all around at the flowers and the blades of grass, but she did not see anything that looked like the right thing to eat or drink under the circumstances. There was a large mushroom growing near her, about the same height as herself, and when she had looked under it and on both sides of it and behind it, it occurred to her that she might as well look and see what was on top of it. She stretched herself up on tiptoe and peeped over the edge of the mushroom, and her eyes immediately met those of a large blue caterpillar that was sitting on the top with its arms folded, quietly smoking a long hookah, and taking not the smallest notice of her, or of anything else. My goodness gracious. So much yawning. Well. That concluded the next chapter. I do believe it is time to sleep. You yawning made me yawn. Sorry about that. My apologies. Thank you for spending time with me, everybody. Thank you for choosing to be here. I know there's certainly other things you could do. So I do appreciate it. It does mean a lot to me. So I will find someone to send you on off to. As a reminder, though we normally do very cozy, comfy streams, this Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with BLT, we will be playing the classrooms. So we're going to get a little bit spooky. So come prepared. I'll do my best to keep it as cozy as possible, but I do fright easily. So we'll see. We're all yawning now. We all yawn here. Thank you for the relaxing reading. Thank you for being here, Icy. Thank you for stream. It's so comforting to hear your voice. Aw, that's so sweet of you. It's always nice to hear your voice, sis. Aw, Star, it's nice to see you. Very relaxing and comfy. Good. I'm glad to hear it. Always come prepared for your streams. What does that mean, Shiki? BLT, let's go. Thank you for the stream. It was so nice. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Yeah. Alrighty, let's see. Wherever shall we go to? Oh. Silly me. I know exactly where we're going to head to. Jay is currently streaming. It looks like he's playing Rain World. But for those of you who don't know, Jay is a very cozy, comfy streamer. He has a very soothing presence, and that extends to when he is playing games. So I am going to send you all over to him. Give me one moment, and we will get right on that. Look forward to catching many more. Aw, Shiki. I look forward to seeing you more. I'm always very honored to get to spend time with you guys. Alrighty. Let's go ahead. You know, I think the last time I raided into Jay, he was he was just running his ads. He does scheduled ads, so they won't catch you by surprise. He's very considerate about them. I wonder if that'll happen again. Since I think he just started, we're gonna find out. Alrighty. Thank you again for being here. If it is nighttime where you are, don't stay up too late. Make sure you get some good rest. And hopefully, I will see you all soon. Bye, everybody. Take care.